Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Rekha Mehta. I am the resource person for the topic named Personal Management. As the name suggests, personal management is managing the manpower, or you may also call it managing the human resource. Human resource is the lifeline of any organization. Without a human resource, and the work in the organization cannot be completed. Even though the organizations may adopt the automated practices within their premises, the human touch is the requirement of any industry, and at the same time it is a human interaction which leads to the conversation, which leads to the sales of any product. So that's why we need to understand that how the personnel or how the human resource in our organization has to be managed. Out here we can see through this slide that the personal management department is responsible for the career progression of an employee when they are working with the organization. For the purpose, they develop their resume in which they outline their personal details, qualification details, experiences, as well as any other extracurricular achievements. That is what the resume showcase. When a job seeker goes to the employer, so that they are supposed to carry the resume along with them. So while making the job search, they also write an application in which they give out the details of their profile, that what is their competency, what are the key skills that the person is having. Is it a person from the IT background, mass communication, hotel management, tourism? So the application in itself gives out the detail to a person at a glance, that what a person is capable of doing. So once the application and the resume is shortlisted, then the person is invited for the interview. Before the interview, the organizations make sure that the person chosen for the job has the required qualification as well as the experience desired for carrying out the job. So during the interviewer assesses the job profile of a person who is appearing for the interview. So this is how the personal management role is carried out in an organization. When the person is selected, they are offered with a letter in which the job details are mentioned, and that is how the person gets recruited in the organization. The personal management functions and operations are its structures, its objectives, introduction, characteristics and objectives of personal management, functions and operations of personal management, organization of a personal office, personal manager role, position of personal department in the organization. Out here we have discussed characteristics and objectives of personal management. Now we will look into the functions and operations of personal management in detail. After reading this unit, you will be able to explain the concept of personal management, that what is the role of personal management in an organization. Describe the critical characteristics of personal management. As I said, personal management is a synonym for manpower management, human resource management in an organization. Identify the objectives of personal management. What are the objectives of the organization, or what is the vision statement of the organization for which a person is hired for carrying out the job? Next is list the various functions of personal management. What are the various functions of personal management? That would be listed here, and you will be able to understand it in a proper manner by looking at the various examples. You will learn how a personal office is organized. how the files are being maintained, how the resumes are being maintained in different files, and then the personal file of the employees. So these are the details that you will learn through this particular slide. Understand the various roles of a personal manager and the skills required to be a successful personal manager. What is the role of the personal manager in an organization, and what are the skills that is required for being a successful personal manager? Appreciating the necessity of a personal department in an organization. We have seen that the organization seldom takes out the posters with the details of employee of the month, employee of the year, wherein the employee is rewarded for carrying out the task in an extraordinary manner or in an exemplary manner. So that's why it becomes important for the organization to have the personal department, wherein the necessity of this particular department must be appreciated. Next is the introduction. An organization is formed for the fulfillment of specific objectives like learning a desired rate of profit on investment, exploitation of specific natural resources, development of a given geographical area, or supplying some essential goods or services to the public. Machines, materials, money, and natural resources are the tools which are used to achieve the organizational goal. Nevertheless, these tools are used by the persons at the different levels with different skills. Let us say a machine may be used by a trade person, when a material may be used by a store person for this distribution. The money may be used by or may be distributed by the accounts department. At the same time, there are natural resources which may be required for the smooth functioning of an organization. That's why a proper selection of personnel or a manpower is important. It is important that they are handled tactfully, and proper management is essential for the success of an organization. Based on the success of personal management, the success of the organization is measured, because it is the manpower which leads to the success of an organization. In the case of hospitality and hotel management, this is not just essential but is the key to success, because of the very nature of the service product, which is intangible in itself. So in hospitality and hotel management, we do have the food and beverage production department, we have food and beverage service department, housekeeping department, as well as the front office department, which are the focused areas the focused topics of hotel management. So the person who is hired has the capability of working in this department. So that's how the organization makes sure that the right candidate is hired for the right job. However, this is most of all the management task in organization. Some people also say that management means managing the men tactfully. On the other hand, many organizations hardly pay any attention in that area. They are not worried about what kind of human resource they have, whether the person is capable or incapable, or whether the person has certain qualities in them. Though they always keep about not getting the adequately trained employees, but at the same time they do not pay emphasis on this particular arena. This is equally true in the case of hospitality organizations, wherein the person carrying out the task is not given any importance by the hospitality due to the nature of the job, due to the amount of work that the person has to face. One often comes into contact with the personal department, such as handling of selection, placement of people, training, discipline, grievance handling, wage administration, dismissal, etc. Nevertheless, there are certain aspects of the work of a personal department that may not be very obvious. In this unit, an attempt has been made to familiarize you with the various issues related to the personal management in an organization. Now we'll study the characteristics and objectives of personal management. As the name suggests, personal management is known by various names over different periods of time. This department is also known as personal administration, labor management, industrial relations, employee relations, manpower management, etc. Irrespective of the size of the organization, these functions exist in every firm and hospitality establishment are no exceptions. The manager who performs this function is also likewise called by the various names like personal manager, employee relation manager, industrial relation manager, labor relations manager, labor officer, labor welfare officer, personal office, employee relation officers, and industrial relations officers. Moving further with the topic of characteristics and objectives of personal management, we will study about the basic facts and characteristics of personal management, which can be summed up as the personal management is concerned with the employees. Next point is personal management is concerned with employees both as individuals and also as a group. Personal management is a function or activity aiding and directing, maximizing their personal and satisfaction in employment, bringing them an equitable, just and human treatment and adequate security from employment. It covers all levels of personnel. It refers not only to unskilled or semi-skilled or what you may call the blue-collar jobs or the blue-collar employees such as doorman, housekeeping attendants, waiters and driver etc. but also the white-collar employees like professional and technical workers, manager officials, clerical workers, sales workers, concierge, etc. Moving further with the characteristics and objectives of personal management, point number 3 is it is inherent in all organizations. It is as helpful and effective in government departments and non-profit organizations as in a business organization. Moreover, it also covers all type of areas of management such as production management, financial management and marketing management, etc. Point number 4 is it is continuous. Personal management requires constant alertness and awareness of human relations and their importance in everyday operations. It attempts at getting the willing cooperation of the people for the attainment of the desired goals. This is necessary because the work cannot be effectively performed in isolation without the promotion and development of an esprit de corps, which means a feeling of pride and mutual loyalty shared by members of a group. Now let us focus on to the objectives of personal management. Point number 1 is to achieve an effective utilization of human resource for the achievement of organizational goals. Second is to establish and maintain an adequate organizational structure and a desirable working relationship among all the members of an organization by dividing the organizational task into functions, positions, jobs, and by defining the responsibility, accountability, authority for each job and its relation with other in the organization. Point number 3 is to secure the integration of the individuals and groups with the organization by reconciling goals with those an organization in such a manner that the employees feel a sense of involvement, commitment, and loyalty towards it. In the absence of it, the employees will face frictions, personal jealousy, and rivalry among themselves. Moving further with the objectives of personal management, the point number 4 is to generate maximum development within an organization by providing opportunities for advancement to employees through training and on the job education, or by offering transfer, or by providing retraining facilities. Point number 5 is to reorganize and satisfy individual needs and group goals by offering an adequate and equitable remuneration, economic and social security in the form of monetary compensation and protection against such hazards of life as illness, old age, disability, death, unemployment, with adequate compensation and security. Employees work willingly and cooperate to achieve an organization's goals. Point number 6 is to maintain high morale and better human relations inside an organization by resource sustaining and improving the conditions so that employees may stick to their jobs for a longer period of time. Moving further with the objectives of personal management, we need to understand that if we consider these objectives, one will perhaps agree that the objectives are in the best interest of all those to whom management is responsible owners of enterprise, the community, the consumer of its goods and services, and members of the organization itself, including groups who may belong to unions. For enabling the manager to fulfill these objectives, the top management has to create some conditions as the prerequisite, which are described here. Point number 1 is existence of capable people in the organization up to the basis of their merits and not on other considerations. Point number 2 is plans for effective utilization of efforts and potentialities of individuals and groups for appreciation of work carried out properly and for future advancement and training. Point number 3 is considering employees as co-workers rather than treating them as a subordinate where one may behave in a bossy manner. Point number 4 is a proper division of tasks of an organization in accordance with the sound plan into functions and positions, each indicating a clear-cut authority, responsibility and duties as relationship of there is a relationship of one position with another. In the absence of such a division, chaotic conditions will prevail and no work will be done in a proper manner or even completed in a proper sequence. Point number 5 is the formation of objectives must be formulated in consultation with senior persons in the organizations and common understanding among managers at all levels of the objectives. If the senior staff or personnel are not involved in the formulation of objectives, they may not feel any real responsibility for achieving the task. If managers at any level do not understand the objectives, they will not know why they are doing a given work, what is expected out of them, and as a result, may not even do it properly. Last but not the least, the point number 6 is the presence of clearly defined and comprehensive objectives and proper communication to the concerned. If objectives to all the concerned in the organization are not clear, and if people who are expected to work for achieving these do not know about this or do not have the knowledge about this, they cannot be expected to achieve them in the given manner. That is why it is important for the organization to develop the objectives and make it understand to the employee about the significance of their job and why they should be performing it and how it should be performed, what is the desired level of the performance appraisal. These things are to be discussed in advance if we want our task to be seamless. Thank you.